Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother, Love Ruthie. Ruth Smallshaw Ray's Letters to Her Mother. 1948, Part 33. This was originally published as Smallshaw Family Memories Collection, or SFMC number 24, published on October 24th, 1997. Letter from the editor of the SFMC. Excuse me. Hello, everybody. We are on a roll here at the SFMC and don't want to lose my momentum, so the issues are coming at you at a violent and terrific rate. As the weather gets worse, I'm sure you'll all have plenty of time to read carefully every issue. This issue is dated October 24th, 1997, which would have been Grandma Smallshaw's 100th birthday. You didn't make it to 100, Grandma, but you were ready to go. We all miss you and wish you well in the next life. The material in this issue is once again extremely fascinating and complex. Ruthie was finishing up her second year teaching school in St. Augustine, Florida. Her mother, Grandma Smallshaw, visited Ruthie in her exotic environment, which was a novel experience for her and a chance for Ruthie to get some good one-on-one with her mother. Shortly after her mother left to go back to Regina, Ruthie's boyfriend, Wade Palms, made his big rush. It appears Ruthie faced either breaking up with Wade or becoming engaged. Ruthie succumbed to the pressure, only temporarily, and became engaged to Wade, uneasily wearing the wedding ring of Wade's mother, until Wade could buy the $600 ring which he coveted. There were so many questions to be answered. What to do about Wade? Should she leave Florida? Should she go to Indianapolis? How about Cleveland? Finally, it was goodbye Wade, goodbye Marion, as Ruthie moved to Cleveland with impeccable timing, arriving as the Cleveland Indians won the 1948 MLB World Series. 21A Myrtle Avenue, St. Augustine, Florida, March 18th, 1948. Dearest Mother, I just got your letter before I left this afternoon, and I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better, dear. I've just been to help decorate for the fiesta, which is tomorrow and Saturday. It seems like I've made thousands of flowers for it, but not so many, really. I got some of my kiddies to make some in art class, too. I guess I mentioned that fiesta to you last year. They shut off one of the streets and have it decorated with moss and crepe paper flowers. The little shops are decorated, too. Some of the big deaf boys were down making a platform for the program, and one asked me for a date to go to the fiesta tomorrow night. I imagine Wade would like that. I mentioned to Wade that I'd be an old lady before I ever finish making flowers for it, and he said I'd at least be an old maid. But I don't have time to do everything I want to. I started oil painting Tuesday night and am simply thrilled with it. I'm not too good, but I had a great time doing my first oil portrait. Mr. Eder says my watercolor has improved too, and I feel it's better, but for still lifes, portraits, I can't manage in watercolor. It's all so intriguing, and sometimes I feel like I'm not making much progress, but when I do think I'm doing, I get so happy about it. I'm sure sorry if I've been lax in writing. I don't know where the time goes. We've seen some good shows lately, Gentleman's Agreement, Escape Me Never, Green Dolphin, and quite a few others. Honey, don't bother getting a chest for the silver. I thought I mentioned to you that I got it in a chest but didn't mail it at the time because I thought by breaking it up I'd escape customs. So I have the chest. I was going to send it later but noticed it was scratched, so maybe they'll exchange it. Maybe you were talking about a china cabinet, is that it? Honey, I was wondering if you'd rather use the money I sent for anything else. Don't feel bound to come down. If you'd rather save it to put towards a car or things for the house, refrigerator, you certainly should. I'd love to see you, you know that, but if you think it's inconvenient to come, maybe circumstances will be better another time. I'm so glad Bud's enjoying it at home. I realized in Chicago how expensive and inconvenient eating out is. Does the war situation sound as bad there as it does here? It's terrific. I'm enclosing 2 of the color snaps we took. Do you like them? The picture Wade burned was just a snap of Don. Wade gave me a deadline for having Don's picture out of my drawer and wallet, so I put them away, but he went through all my pictures in my wallet and took out the pictures of Frank and Jack, Marshall, Frankie, and burned the one of Don that I'd forgotten. The picture didn't bother me. I really got over Don a long time ago, but he still was a swell guy. I drove down the highway, sure proud. I still regret ever leaving Saskatoon at times, but that's the way it is. That's one reason I'm so afraid to make a decision now, one way or another. Maybe something will give me a clue. You'd die laughing. I'm writing this in the post office, and a fellow was posting little letters. I said, "New baby," he was married. They were advertising cards for silver, and while he was showing me, another fellow told him to quit cutting in on him. He's an old friend of Marion's who's asked her to ask me for a date. Wade knows him and gets a kick out of it when he asks to drive us home after movies. This is all mixed up. I'll write again. Love you, Ruthie. P.S. I'm sure glad I found another piece of paper. You know the Civil Rights Bill of President Harry Truman's is quite the issue down here. Many folks are against it. All the Southern governors banded against President Truman, as you probably know. The minister spoke for it, though, on Sunday. Dr. Settles told everyone to be sure to get out and vote, because all the, quote, jigaboos would be. It's quite the thing. Political issues all over the place. We had a terrific rain last week that lasted the whole week off and on, and it rained for 48 hours steadily. The streets were filled to the top, and regular lakes around. It reminded me of the movie I went to the afternoon before I left. Remember? Gee, but I was sad that afternoon and cried so much in it. I was really quite unhappy then. The weather is lovely and warm now, though. Too hot for all my clothes, but can't seem to afford anything new. Haven't bought anything all winter. Marion has some new length dresses, though. I made a cherry pie and raisin tarts yesterday, and tried a lemon meringue coconut pie last week. Quite good. I guess I should write more often and in more logical sequence. Write and tell me if there's anything you want and the date of your reservation from Chicago, if you do plan to come. Lots of love, Ruthie. 21A Myrtle Avenue, St. Augustine, Florida, March 28, 1948. Dearest Mother, I hope you're having a happy Easter today, darling, and that it's nice weather for Easter. It's been a beautiful sunshiny day here, but not as hot as it has been. Yesterday and last night it was raining, and I was so afraid it would be raining this morning for the Easter egg hunt, but it was nice. Yesterday I went over to Wade's home and helped his sister and sister-in-law dye eggs for Michelle, the daughter of one of his brothers, who was killed. She's 3 years old, I believe. We had a great time, and they really came out beautifully, and we transferred names and pictures onto them. It was fun. They insisted that I bring a dozen home with me. I took a few up to school, and of course Fuzz, Marion, Wade, and Chuck all had one. I got chocolate eggs and made some icing yesterday. I got some egg dye and divided the icing up and decorated the chocolate eggs with pink, mauve, green, and yellow icing, putting on names and flowers. I was really proud of them. I didn't have a cake decorator, so took a tube off a scouring brush. Ingenious, what? So this morning I took the hard-boiled eggs and chocolate ones and candy and rabbits to school and filled the baskets. All my kitties either went home or their parents came for them, but Freddie's. It was so nice for them. Some brought them back for the Easter egg hunt. I helped Zoe hide the eggs, and then the kitties had a big time looking for them. Quite a few parents were there and took pictures of it all. I get such a kick out of things like that. I went to Easter Communion service this morning. They had flowers made into the form of a big cross. It was so lovely. Some of the church members put money together and put a down payment on a new car for the minister. Nice Easter gift. One of my kitty's parents gave me a box of chocolates, and Wade gave me a box of Whitman's sampler, now that Lent is over. I've had a great time trying them all out. It's so pretty. Last night we went to the beach hotel dancing with Chuck and his wife Virginia. They're having a reconciliation. They went together just a short time and were married. It lasted a year and a half, and they've been separated a year and now trying it again. They have a little boy about a year and a half. Marion went out with him when he was still living with his wife, and that's how she met Wade. It's hard to believe, but 2 months from yesterday, school will be over. Everyone keeps asking me what I'm going to do. I wish I knew. I haven't heard from you for so long, and I'm wondering about your plans. I hope you didn't misinterpret my letter about whether you should use the money to come or not. You know that I want you to come. It's just that when I realize that Daddy is on holidays and you might like to go where he goes because you enjoyed your trip to the coast together. Then, too, when I see so many people from all over the United States and Ontario driving down here, I think maybe you'd get more enjoyment if you saved for a car. But it's what you want to do. I'd love to see you both of you, but I didn't want you to feel under obligation to visit me because of the money. Tell Bud that I don't think there's a fellow of 19, 20, or 21 that doesn't think he wants to get married. Like to see that brother of mine, too. Lots of love, Ruthie. 21A Myrtle Avenue, St. Augustine, Florida, April 3rd, 1948. Dearest Mother, I hope you'll forgive the mood that I wrote to you last, but you probably can understand how I felt. I'm only praying that there won't be any more errors. You'll get to Chicago at 9:45 that night and leave at 8:10 the next morning, so not much time to pick up your ticket and check the reservation. It seems funny that they couldn't sell me the proper ticket here, doesn't it? It hardly seems possible that I'll be seeing you in just a few days. I'll try to get off from school Friday morning to meet the train. You be sure to take a good look at Indianapolis and surrounding country to see if I'd like it. I taught Sunday school this morning and went to church, and Wade just phoned that he's been to church and is coming over. We went to a very good movie Thursday night, Cass Timberlane. I really like Spencer Tracy. We took Wade's sister Ellen and went to the Trade Winds after. Last night we went to Zanzi's. Fuzz was on duty, so Marion went out with English. English's wife is in town now getting her second divorce. My roses are all dying. I'm sorry they couldn't have been nice till you came, but too much to expect, I guess. Dear, I hope the reservation at the Morrison Hotel is okay. I think it was $4 a night. It's a beautiful day today. I hope it stays nice when you come. You never mentioned luggage. Hope you got along okay. I've been anxious to hear how Bud's deal went off. Would really like to be seeing him, too. Hope Daddy went to see Grandma during his holidays, and hope that Bud and Daddy get along all right without you. I was saying how I'd lost weight, and Wade said not to worry. You'd fatten me up. That wouldn't be your idea of a holiday, though. Hope you enjoy the trip, dear, and don't get sick. Don't think about it, and you'll be okay, I hope. Be seeing you, dear. Lots of love, Ruthie. 21A Myrtle Avenue, St. Augustine, Florida, April 15th, 1948. Dear Bud and Daddy, hi. Was it ever swell to get your letter this afternoon? Bud and Daddy have been writing pretty well since Mom arrived. I think she likes Florida pretty well, and personally I think the climate would cinch any decision. Mother seems to think that even if I do leave, that I'll eventually come back to Florida. That's what they call getting sand in your shoes. No matter where you go, you always come back to Florida. Mother got some in the first night she was here. Wade and I took her out to the beach, and I think she likes it pretty well. She went on the bus herself yesterday and got quite a lot of sun. I think it'll be all right, but she does burn easily. Marion fell asleep in it Saturday and was really scorched. She got such a good tan last year, so it wasn't quite so tender, but she's peeled already, and I guess it's been very painful. Wade took Mother and I to a movie Saturday and Monday nights, and we were going to Tycoon tonight, but I'm on boys' study hall now. The boys are really good since they have a new system. There are about 100 boys to watch in 4 rooms, and it used to keep you on your toes and nearly needing a baseball bat. But now they have a big boy to watch about 10 younger ones, and they behave. All teenagers are full of anything but the desire to study. Earl, one of the big boys who was such a help on my Pensacola trip, has been asking me to ask Dr. Settles if I can take them again this year. He's supposed to be a bad boy and says I'm the only one who thinks he's good, so I've been encouraging him to study. It's been working better with him than with you, Bud. He just asked me to promise not to be cross with him and showed me his marks. B, B+, C, C+ so far. I'm going to ask him some questions about the health he's studying in a few minutes. I never heard so much about a plane trip in all my life as when we went to see Georgia. Her sister and mother were there. They're all from Canada. But Mom really went to town telling about the snow back home and her plane trip. We went for tea and Mother told her story about teaching Chum to bark. Monday morning we took all the kiddies in the school bus to the alligator farm and picked Mother up on the avenue. One of my little boys has reddish hair and really seemed to adopt Mother and held her hand all the time. The next day I saw him telling the others about his. Mother suggested that she'd like to live down here, but I think someone told her how hot it was and scared her. She took the trip very well and looked so well when she got here. The change of climate hasn't affected her nearly as much as Marion or I. Of course, we got here in a hotter month, and our traveling was a little more strenuous, a boat trip and sitting up in slow day coaches. 3 of the teachers are having a tea Saturday afternoon, and Wade's mother has invited us for a fried shrimp dinner Saturday evening. Sure wish I had a car so I could really show her things. I'm still all unsettled about next year. I have an offer to teach in Indianapolis, and Butler University is there and seems to offer a lot of good courses. So if I'm ever to get my degree, I'd better settle down and work on it. Of course, I will have to leave this lovely country and will miss Wade, but I did miss Saskatoon and Don, too. Bud, you really had me in a spin when you wrote that April Fool letter, trying to get us used to the idea. Don't tell me you haven't got Mother used to you coming in late. Wade and I went on a wiener roast last night. Mom wouldn't go, but commented on how late it was. Sure swell to hear how you're doing, Bud, and sounds like you're both eating well, too. Love, Ruthie. 21A Myrtle Avenue, St. Augustine, Florida, May 5th, 1948. Dearest Mother, I've been looking for a letter from you and have been wondering how you got along. It was really awful to see you go, dear. I guess the first time anyone's gone away from me, except when you and Daddy went to the coast. It's much harder than going myself. You looked very nice in your blue coat, and I hope it was warm enough for you. This letter from the airline came the next morning, and I just had to open it and see how you got along as far as reservations. Sorry to see you had to stay so long in Winnipeg and wouldn't get home until so late, and hope you saw Bonnie. I'll be anxious to hear. I had a letter from Crisp in the same mail saying he thought you'd rather hear from someone who knew me even if it was late. If you had to leave, though, Sunday was the best day because it's almost been unbearably hot since. You would have seen one of our tropical rains, though. This afternoon it poured so hard you'd get soaked walking from a doorway to a car. We took the kiddies to the beach this morning and had a wonderful time. We came home dirty but happy. Dale drove me back, and I had to have a bath before I taught art this afternoon. I saw Wade on the way home, and he's looking so tired. He was in charge of a ballot box yesterday and counted votes all night. Marion went to Jacksonville, and I went to bed about 8 o'clock. Dale mentioned driving to Jacksonville to see a movie, but I thought I'd go to bed. Wade phoned me just before 8 o'clock this morning and said they were still counting votes, but he was getting off to go to work. They were until afternoon, I hear. Some election. Yesterday we went to a tea. I was just going to wear my green dress and white shoes because I had to teach art and go from there, but Dale said she'd drive me home if I'd put on a hat and stockings, so I did and dressed up some more. I like my green dress so much, and Marion got me a new pair of white sandals when she was in Jacksonville. How are the floods? I got an offer from Indianapolis. Not quite what Settles is offering me for next year, but they do give me a noon meal. Jeanette taught there 2 years ago, and she said it was a good meal, so if I were rooming, it would help me to keep from starving. He also suggested that I work on my degree at Butler University. Now the problem is, should I go to summer school in Indianapolis and get to work on subjects I need for my degree, or go to Cleveland and hope that the courses there will count at Indianapolis? I guess I'd better find out first. Well, darling, I'll be looking for a letter. A lot have asked about you. The woman across the street asked if you were my sister. And the little girls asked to walk with me to the corner and asked if my mommy was gone. At school, I wrote on the news chart that my mother went on the train. She went home. The kiddies asked if I cried, and when I admitted I had, they all said, "Oh," and were so sorry. Believe me, I'll never get after them for crying again. Then they all told me their mothers were on the train and picked out windows on the train and showed me their mothers. They were so excited to see Dale and I in hats yesterday. Wade was so swell about you going out, says next to his mother, he thinks the most of you. It's been so terribly hot, though. Even the rain hasn't helped. Goodbye for now, and I'll be anxious to hear, so write. I love you and miss you very much, but I'm so glad you came. Lots of love, Ruthie. To be continued. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Good luck to you with your efforts in family history if this interests you. Finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, and photographs, and interviewing elderly relatives while they're alive. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.